life.
Way of life. For now, just
We are doing education important, but there's not education important. If we are education, I'm not a woman, she knows me. If we are education, so I know that education can pay. I know that education is value. Number one, man, don't mean to say my daughter. They meant to mean to say my daughter. You know that education is value. Mama told me to say my daughter. Mama told me to say my daughter. She also had me to say my daughter. If we are education, you go. So my people, I told my brother to say it, daughter. I told my sister to say it, daughter. I told my sister to say it, daughter. Because I know that education is good. I know that education is good. Say good education is good. That blood don't make the same man. My country business, you're doing good. Say me my country business, you're doing good. Say bomb country business, you're doing good. Say me my country business, you're doing good. We are doing education important, but there's not education is value. If we are education is good, I'm not a woman, she knows me. If we are education is good, so I know that education can pay. I know that education is value. Number one, man, don't mean to say my daughter. They meant to mean to say my daughter. You know that education is value. Mama told me to say my daughter. Mama told me to say my daughter. She also had me to say my daughter. If we are education, you go. So my people, I told my brother to say it, daughter. I told my sister to say it, daughter. I told my sister.
all right.
I
Well,
was jamming back here.
oh, you're getting ready to dance, huh?
I was jamming.
I like the song. I like the song.
I need to get that.
I know, no, I
You
like
like that
that.
jam?
Yeah,
Nice.
that's gonna be my new ringtone.
I like
We,
that.
we, we, we need a trademark that so nobody else uses it. Trademark that tune. Well, like to say good evening. It's a Wednesday, the 31st of July, and it's another good evening where we have our guest. We're going to be discussing what it means to own a home in America as an immigrant. Uh, to discuss that, we have uh, Randy White. He's part of a brokerage, and the terminology for him will be a broker. Uh, and I will go around and have my panelists introduce themselves. And after that, we will go over to Randy, who will introduce himself, and we'll double dabble into things. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So, Tatas, let's start with you. Just go ahead, introduce yourself, and we'll go from there with Chase.
Yeah, gentlemen, it's nice to be here. Randy, thanks for honoring the invite, bro. We're really excited to sit with you this evening and to sit at your fountain of knowledge, man. You know, we're all about providing information, education to our community. So this is all a part of empowering our community. So thank you for being here. I look forward to it.
Chase.
All right. Hey, I'm Chase. Yeah. Once again, welcome, Randy. Um, we are actually excited to gain inner wisdom you are able to leave with us today. Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Joey.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Joey. Welcome to Inner Circle Podcast. We have Randy. We are pleased to be with you here and look forward to getting more information. Thank you.
And my name is Sam. Randy, thanks for being here and being very much on time. That is not a Liberian thing. You surprised us, and we say thank you for that. We're gonna be here for the next, let's just probably say, next 50 minutes. Um, we want you to introduce yourself. Tell us what is it that you do. What is what you do, and
Sure.
we'll just have a frank, open, and just really relaxed conversation, learning from you, asking you questions, and so our viewers also can understand what you do, and hopefully somebody out there will need the help that you provide out here. So over to you, man.
Sure. Fellows, good evening. Once again, I want to say thank you for allowing me the platform, an opportunity to hopefully come here and share information that people would, those who have access to, not just be able to take it in, apply it, but also be able to share it as well. My name is Randy Ware. I'm a Liberian. I reside in the Twin Cities, specifically Brooklyn Park. I am a mortgage broker, so I'm a part owner of a brokerage firm. But before that, I've been investing in real estate for about 10 years. That has really transformed my life quite a bit. And then to get into to dive more into what's a brokerage. Um, a brokerage firm, when you become a loan originator, there's a process for you to get licensed. So, like if you wanted to become a realtor, right, there's a national test you have to take. Just by you getting licensed by yourself, you cannot practice, right? It's like a doctor graduating school. Now he's a medical doctor and just decide to practice. No, you need a firm to endorse you, right? You need a hospital, you need an institution. So for me, I'm a licensed loan originator. I could have worked for any brokerage firm or go to a bank or any lending institution. I decided to become a partner of a mortgage broker. So, how does mortgage brokerage operate? Essentially, is if you're looking to buy a home or if you're looking to lend, specifically for real estate transaction purposes, you need funding, right? In order for you to get access to the funding, you need to go through a process of being qualified, right? And whatever institution that is facilitating that lending process, they have something called, financial products. And so, for example, if you were to go to Wells Fargo to try to buy a home, Wells Fargo has specific lending products, for people from different demographic or different profile, I should say. If you go to U.S. Bank, same as. The unique aspect of operating a brokerage is coming to a broker. We have over 60 lenders that we partner with, right? And so it's almost like you're an independent agent, right? Where you're coming to me and I can shop on the market and have access to the best pricing, the best deal, either from a down payment perspective, some products that's flexible around your income situation, your credit situation. A broker's firm has more leverage in terms of being able to offer better pricing to the borrowers or to the client. One of the advantage of a brokerage firm is there isn't a lot of uh, bureaucracy, or I should say, the red tape, right? So coming from an immigrant background, as a real estate investor, there are certain approach I like to take when I'm educating people about buying home, and that doesn't necessarily fit with the big institution, right? With the big institution, they have their marketing material. It's scripted, right? You got to go by the script. With me, I go off the wall. I'm able to have conversation with you. I'm able to develop my conversation with you, even start with developing a personal relationship with you, right? For you to understand that, hey, not only am I trying to offer you a service, but I'm actually trying to influence you to set you up, to a point where you can use this transaction opportunity as a way for you to build wealth. So just to share a little bit of background, I'm a real estate investor, and I'm also a loan originator that is a part owner of a mortgage brokerage firm.
Okay. So Randy, you said for 10 years you've invested. Do you say you've invested in real estate?
Yes,
You care to share any of that with us too? What you've
absolutely,
done?
absolutely, absolutely. I've worked in corporate America. I worked in corporate America since I was 19 years old. You're working diligently. You start on the production line, you get promoted to production lead, quality technician, production supervisor, production manager. And so my last role was with Philips Medical, as a director of operations. But one of the things that I came across, I sensed very early is, you keep climbing the ladder and you keep getting these increases, right? With each lateral move, you get 15, 20%. You're seeing on paper, you're making more than you made 3, 4, 5 years ago, but that isn't, it's not transformative, right? You're not seeing it in the bank account. When you
Right.
at the end of the year you file your taxes, you're even being taxed more. And so one of the things I took upon myself was to understand the taxation process in this country, and what that led me to is the realization that, you know those who the, the taxes, the tax laws are made for entrepreneurs. The tax law are made heavily in favor of real estate investor. Essentially, the
So,
people
so,
who
so I understand the background you're trying to lay it out, which is very key. I think you're building onto something. But for the sake of time, um, specifically
sure.
your investment in real estate that you mentioned, what has it been like besides now coming to be part of a brokerage?
It's been, I should say, it's been a very intriguing. It's been a very intriguing process. To be honest with you, it's opened up a lot of doors from a networking perspective. All of my investment that I've done up to this time has been in the residential side of things.
Okay.
It has allowed me to really understand how to analyze, how to analyze deal, how to understand markets, why certain properties are sold for this amount. It's really opened a lot of doors, and opened a lot of mental, I should say, mental doors for me as well.
So when you say the residential, are you talking flipping or renting? What have you really been into?
Sure.
I'm
So
curious
for
here.
for the first couple of years, and I want to say maybe most part of it was primarily just buying and holding, right? So I would purchase, I would do a little bit of rehab, and then rent it. So I started real estate investing on a long haul trajectory. As I've gotten, I don't want to say become an expert or anything, but I've gotten more comfortable with analyzing deals and taking some financial risk. I'm starting to get involved in the fix and flips. I have a couple of fix and flips under my belt, and I have a team of individuals that we get deals daily, weekly, monthly, and we evaluate these deals in terms of which one we think it's not just more profitable, but which one we think makes the most sense. and then we pull the trigger on them. We have contractors that are willing to get in a van and drive from here to Oklahoma, do a flip, leave from Oklahoma and go to Texas, do a flip, leave from Texas, go to Miami, do a flip. So this whole process has been really an eventful one for me. It's been very rewarding and quite exciting.
All right, appreciate it. So,
So, what would you say would be one of the most lucrative deals you've done when it comes to maybe wholesaling, holding, I mean, flipping, and just overall um, deals? I just want to understand because I know there's just a little bit of education that I do have is I know there's wholesaling rather.
Sure, sure,
I don't
sure.
know. So have you done wholesaling, or have you done everything in the book there is to do?
I I attempted wholesaling. So do you guys understand what wholesaling is, or
I
do
mean,
you
you
want?
can elaborate for the rest of them, but I do have a little knowledge on that. Yeah.
Okay, so wholesaling is where you're able to get a property under contract. Let's say you have a borrower who's lived in a property for 20 years. The husband passed away. The wife cannot keep up with the payment. The bank are trying to foreclose on the home. She cannot pay her taxes. She owes certain amount of money. I get visibility of that. I contact the wife and say, "Hey, ma'am, I'm Brandy White. I'm a local real estate investor. I have opportunity and some funding available to invest in this area. Would you consider a cash offer?" Without telling her that I'm not the one buying the property. So I get her to commit to a price, right? Whatever that price is. So that price is $50,000, and then I have it on a contract. Then I find a cash buyer, right? I contact a bunch of investors and say, "Hey, I have this property on a contract. The ARV is 150. I can let it go. I can assign it to you for a fee of $70,000, right? So I got it on a contract for 50,000. I assign it for 70. So I made $20,000 right there. So that's wholesaling, right? Holding, buying and holding is where you buy a property in your name, you renovate it, and you rent it, right? Where the tenant is paying your mortgage, cash flowing, your property's appreciating over time. So that's the difference. I actually tried wholesaling for about 6, 7, 8 months. It requires a lot of hand holding because I have a lot of things going on. I wasn't really. It was a very good strategy, but I didn't have the bandwidth to really deep dive into it. And so what I ended up doing was I partner with an individual who is very great at wholesaling. So she gets the deal, and then I'm the lender, right? So instead of her, when she gets the deal, rather than her going to look for a cash buyer, because we're a team now, she gets the deal and she comes to me right away and say, "Hey, Randy, I got this deal. Can we finance it?" Right? Sure. I run the numbers. We do a comps. We go take a look at it. Yep, we can finance it. And then we have another individual who's a general contractor. So, the three of us, we work in a tandem. She gets the deal. I finance it. He's the general contractor. So if she gets the deal, we evaluate the numbers. We agree. I finance it. We hand it over to him. He does the rehab. Once the rehab is done, we put it back on the market. And now that's our exit strategy.
okay. Chase, I hope your question is answered. Now, let's kind of go more into what the person who's watching this could benefit from, right? Somebody who's probably looking into buying a house today, looking to own some kind of property, right? Um, what would you say, or how? What are some of the benefits? What would you say are some of the benefits of owning a home as an immigrant in America? Because there's some folks who are just renting, don't want to buy, right? Some folks who are pretty much just building, living here, but building in Liberia and not thinking about doing anything here. What benefits are there with owning homes here or property here?
Sure. Before we touch on the benefit, I first uh, will have to emphasize on the anxiety that's associated with buying homes.
Take it
Um,
away.
a, a lot of times, even me, it took a friend of mine holding my hand before I bought my first home. I was just hell bent on not buying because there's so much there's so much perception out there about buying home. Not perception, but I want to say good
Misconception.
right
Misconception.
good reasons, misconceptions, right? But a lot of those misconceptions are a result of not being informed, right? And so there's a lot of butterflies. Making a wrong home purchase can set you back 10 years financially in the US. This is not an economy that is forgiving. It's not like, oh crap, I bought the wrong home, I'm underwater. You know, there's not an economy that's quite forgiving. You make the wrong decision, you purchase the wrong home, and it can impact you negatively. On the flip side, you talk about the benefit of home ownership. You look around, everything in the US is based on ownership. Everything. You don't own anything, you're not influential, right? People can push you around. Just look at the vulnerability of renting, right? When people talk about home ownership, I mean adversary for home ownership, look at the vulnerability of renting. You have a landlord that give you 12 months security to being at home, right? But there's no guarantee that after 12 months, this person is not going to increase your rent astronomically. Now they have states out there that put a cap on how much rent can increase, but state like Minnesota, there's no cap on how much rent can increase. And then in terms of equity, you're talking about investing wisely in your time. In terms of building equity, you rent for 10 years. At the end of your 10 years tenure, you're not even guaranteed to get your security deposit back, right? And so all of that time is just, I would say you're investing into building somebody else's dream. I understand that there can be anxieties when it comes to home buying, but the more information you get access to, the better information, the more informed you are, the more confidence it builds, the more excitement it gets you to be able to realize how does buying a home is really great. And in a nutshell, it really is this simple. I'm a second generation immigrant, right? Let's say I came here. Unfortunately, my parents was not in a position for us to acquire a home. But had my parents been in a position to acquire a home, I've been here for 20 years. We would have been able to look back and have a boatload of equity that we can take and go and invest somewhere else, right? And so from a wealth building perspective, it starts by from my perspective, it starts by purchasing a home, because at least you are setting the ground, you're setting the foundation on something that you can base off, right? You purchased a home 5 years ago, that property has that value has gone up. You can tap into that value. And that's how I became a real estate investor, right? I bought my home 2014. By 2015, 2016, we've put so much equity in it by doing some renovations. We were able to take that equity and start to invest in real estate. If I was still renting, would I have that flexibility? I don't think so.
What are
Yeah.
some of the? Yeah, go ahead, Ab. Go ahead.
Yeah. So
So,
sorry for joining you guys late. It is
So
April.
let Ab ask his question, and then we'll move forward to Tatas.
Yeah. Sorry guys for joining you guys late. It is Abraham Kamara. My first question to you, Randy. I know you mentioned that your last role was at Philips. Are you still at Philips, or you are only focusing right now on like entrepreneurship? Have you transitioned from the corporate world to entrepreneurship? One hundred
Yeah,
percent.
yeah. September will make me a year since I transitioned from the corporate world. I essentially just resigned. I had too much going on, and I wanted to spread my wings a little bit on the fix and flip side, and there was just too much moving parts there where I couldn't stay in my corporate environment and continue to focus on that.
Okay, and then my second question for you is, I know you're encouraging our brothers and sisters in the United States, about the good thing about real estate investment. But I would say that, what do you make of the current interest rate environment? Do you think it's a good time to be a buyer or seller?
Well, to each his own. I would tell you, as a real estate investor, there are multiple components of a deal, and one of those components is interest rate. I've never really made a decision to buy a home or not just based on interest rates. That's me, right? Because I'm looking at either my exit strategy or I'm looking at long term. Now, when you are
But you
looking,
are an investor, though. I mean, to
yeah,
a point, you
I
are an
mean,
investor.
Yeah, isn't the
right,
question is more for the person who
for,
wants to buy
for,
and
for,
live in a home.
for yeah, for home buyers. So there are a couple of things you home buyers should consider that's going on. The I don't foresee, and I think the reason why people are having this conversation is because years ago we saw interest rates in the high twos, low threes, maybe mid fours. I don't foresee us getting back to those. To be honest with you, if you follow the Federal Reserve is in a recovery point where they need interest rate to be at where it is right now. It might go down by a percentage, before after the election, maybe mid sixes or 6%, but like 4%. I think those days are over. Also, if you look back prior to the
What
2008.
what what, what is it now? What is it at now?
Right now, today's market closed at right around 6.7, 6.8.
6.68. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
Six
today's
point
market,
six,
but
right?
it's all
6.78.
yes, it's also relative to credit score and down payment, all that stuff. But right around, I would say 6.7, 6.8. Um, if you go back prior to the crash of the market, right, the average homeowner was carrying a mortgage interest rate of right around 10 to 12%. So I think people have forgotten about those days and is reflected back on the 2.75, 3.8, 4.5, or 4.75 being the norm. So when you ask me in terms of buying a home, I think it's always the right time to buy a home. You just have to make the purchase have to be based on your situation, right? There's another phenomenon that's happening that's really impacting home buying decision. Traditionally, when interest rates are high, prices goes down. When prices goes down, interest rates are high. We're in a unique time where interest rates are high, pricing continues to rise. And the reason for that is this: inflation has really impacted the builders' ability to build houses to keep that much inventory on the market, such that it's able to regulate the prices at an acceptable rate. Not only are the builders not building fast enough, corporate America has now entered the single family game. And as I explained to Titus the other time, because of the rise in Airbnb, corporate America, they are divesting from their traditional focus of hotels, and they are buying single family homes. Like there's a city in Atlanta that was purchased by one of the biggest that was purchased by Vanguard. The entire city, all of the single family homes in that city was purchased by Vanguard. So when you have single family home comes on the market, you as a first time borrower, you're not only competing with investors, you're not only you're competing with corporate America. They're coming in, they're buying those houses, and they're putting it up for Airbnb. So now a lot of cities are starting to regulate Airbnbs. That's one of the reasons why you see Airbnbs now, all over the place, because these single family homes. I mean, last year, 27% of the single family home that was purchased in the U.S. was purchased by corporate America, big companies. This year, it is on the trajectory to increase to right around 38%. Right. So when people ask me when is the right time to buy, I always feel like the right time to buy is now. However, you pulling the trigger has to be unique to what you have going on, what type of property you can afford, and things like that.
So are you
So
saying like,
Randy,
So
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 are you saying like in this accelerated interest rate environment, your advice to our people would be go ahead and buy, depending on your situation.
Depending on your situation, I will always encourage people to buy. But again, right, when I'm consulting to people, that one of the first thing I try to get across you to is to understand the concept of buying smart, not buying with your emotions, right? If there's an opportunity for you to purchase a home for $200,000 and use, $20,000 to transform that home into the home that you want, I would recommend you do that versus saying to go and buy a $400,000 home, because you see the granite countertop, you see the walk-in closet. So it's just understanding that mindset that the same house environment wise that you want that you're willing to pay $400,000 for, you can get a property under market distress for $200,000 and use leverage some credit cards and revamp that house for what you want it to be.
All right, let's go over to Tatos. Tatos, thank you, Randy. Go ahead, ask your question.
So, not to walk backwards, it sounds like this buying home is not something that's really encouraged within our community, specifically to the Liberian community, and we can probably ascertain that to the lack of information. So now, an immigrant in the states right now who is probably listening to you, I mean, what would you say to that person who's interested? You know, they're afraid, they're interested in buying a home. Where can they go to get this information? And like initially, where can they start from as an immigrant? What are those steps? Can you lay out something for a novice, an immigrant who's afraid? How can they
Sure.
get into this thing? How can they be brave enough? Everybody's not opportune to have a person hold their hand and force them bend that arm to buy a home.
Sure,
I
sure.
just I just want to add to that and make a two-part question. I mean,
Sure.
those are bad credits as well. How do we, what a disadvantage and advantage? Obviously, there's a disadvantage, but how do they go about purchasing the home? Because I've heard that those are bad credits. If you're a first generational kid, there's money allocated to you guys out there. So I mean, to people out there. So I just want you to just,
Sure.
it's a two-part question actually. Sorry.
And I hope I do a good enough job of answering it. But in a nutshell, we're underrepresented across the board, even when it comes to the entire home purchasing triangular, right? Either from the lender, the agent, or the processing side, we're underrepresented. One of the reasons I made a decision to go the brokerage route is because while we're underrepresented, there are more African Americans and African immigrant that are realtors, right? However, I haven't met another African broker yet. I think most of us that are loan originators are working for big banks. So that's the reason why I decided to come this way. The number one thing I always tell people, the number one thing, and I'll give you two data points for you to reference. Of all the races in the U.S., blacks, that's a combination of black born here and those immigrated here. We are the least when it comes to home ownership. And then on the flip side, when it comes to those who impacted by foreclosure the most, we are the most.
Hmm.
When you do an analysis, what I took away from that is information. The number one thing I always tell anyone that's thinking about getting a home, get information. Reach out to a resource. Complete your first time home buyer education. Right, I'll provide those for free. You don't even have to pay me. I set those up once a month. You can attend those. When you engage a lender, when you have ideas about purchasing a home, that's not the
Well,
time for you to engage a lender.
Randy, that's a very good information. Before you continue, can you let us know the next one that you're having so that we can
Absolutely,
share it on our platform and try to get
absolutely.
people out there? Okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'll share that information. When you
Sounds
have
good.
the urge, and this is what I see a lot in our community, and I know people are going to agree or disagree. Most of our purchase of home is a ad hoc decision. Your friend purchased a home, they have a home welcome. Your husband and wife, you go there. Your wife see all the granite countertop, the walk-in closet. You come home, she start telling you, "Oh Sam, we need to buy on a home." Right away, you start thinking about, okay, who do I need to contact to get pre-qualified?
Right.
That's what is putting up into a lot of trouble. The
Impossible.
first thing you should do is say, okay, where can we go to get information to understand the process of becoming a homeowner? What does it entail? Right? Just think about it. This thing is a process. When you go through the process of becoming a homeowner, you are well equipped to handle everything that's going to be thrown at you. You're well equipped to hold people accountable. You're well equipped to evaluate markets. You're well equipped to understand what what kind of property you can afford. But if you skip that, you're not informed, and you just jump to a lender's office, you know what that person start thinking? They see their commission, they see opportunity to get paid. So now they start pushing you down the line to buy a home, buy a home, buy a home. They start putting all kinds of pressure on you. And because you skip the process of getting information, you succumb to it. So it's always good to I think it's always good to get knowledge, to complete your first time home buying process before. And then to answer the second part of the question is, since this whole George Floyd civil unrest, a lot of the states started to work with the federal government to make fundings available for communities that was heavily impacted by the civil unrest. So there are a lot of down payment assistance funds out there. Those are specific to cities. So some of the cities that was heavily impacted, places like Minneapolis, St. Paul, those places, if you're looking to buy homes in those areas, they have down payment assistance program that your loan officer can connect you to, because you have to, it's outside their origination process, so you have to apply for it. But there's a lot of fundings out there, and if you have your credit shot, there's credit repair vendors out there. Depending on what is on your credit, they're able to work with you. But again, even a credit, it starts by getting credit education, understanding what makes up your credit, how can you improve your credit, what behavior you are exhibiting that is impacting your credit on a negative end. So everything starts with getting information. And I know an individual that can do credit repair, credit education. So if anybody needs it, I can connect you. And then again, every month I do, once a month I do the first time home buyer education course, free, that I will be sharing with you guys so people can attend and just get more information.
So which credit scores do you see getting the best rates usually?
Well, the higher the better. But the interest rate works is, the interest rate is like a, I don't know what it's like a ruler where you have like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you got zero, and then you got -1, 1, 2, 3, 4. First time home buyer, I always recommend, if your credit score is below 700, don't look to buy a home, because essentially, if you're first time home buyer and you complete the first time home buyer course, you have the certificate that we can submit to underwriting. That's going to give you a discount interest rate. But if your credit score is below 700, you're not taking advantage of that. In today's market, if you want to purchase conventional, if you're first time home buyer, maybe FHA, I highly recommend 700. Right? Obviously, the higher your credit score is, the higher your down payment is, the more access you're going to have to lower interest rate. And if you have capital, even with your credit score not being 700, right, you can buy down the rate, where you might, your credit, based on your credit score, the interest rate the market give you might be 7.5%. But say you get $10,000 and you're like, Randy, I have $10,000, I want to buy down the rate. Maybe you can buy it all the way down to, like, instead of 7.5, buy it down to 5% or 5.5.
Oh, that's good to know. But
Anybody
Yes,
what
got
what
any
what what if there was a cold barrier? Let's say the initial barrier credit score was higher, and the cold barrier's credit score was lower. How do you go about that?
you always go with the lowest. You
Mm.
always, yeah, you always. So there's three credit institution, right? You got TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, right?
No,
Those,
no, I didn't mean the credit score. I mean, yeah, actually, I
Yeah,
meant the
two
credit score,
questions
but
at
what I
once.
meant the initial barrier of the loan,
right,
right? Where if that
right.
credit score was higher and the cold barrier credit score was lower, so you always go with the lower ones. Is that what you
You
say?
always, yep. It's the
Okay,
regulation. You always go with the middle. You always go with the middle lower score, right?
okay.
So if my wife and I on the loan, her middle score is 760, my middle score is, call it 640. 640 is what they're going to use to qualify us.
So Randy, I don't know if anybody wants to come in, but a quick question here: for somebody who's already purchased a home, right, and they've probably been in the home for quite a few years, and they're thinking about selling, what would you say is usually the best time to try to sell your home?
I'm not an advocate of selling a home. So for this particular reason, you know, I view homes like land, right? You're not growing any more land. There isn't land growing anywhere else on the earth, and the U.S. is the most immigrated country across across the globe. So every year there's an influx of people coming to the U.S. Now, what I do recommend is paying attention to the activities in your city. So when you start to see population decrease, when you start to see jobs leaving, that's an opportunity for you to look into selling your home, because that's telling you, right, there's vulnerability happening in that area, right? If a company leaves, that company employed 1,000 people, those 1,000 folks are unemployed, right? That's going to impact the purchasing power within that area, right? But if none of those things are happening, if you have a home and you just want to get another home, use the equity in that home and purchase your next home and rent it out, right? Make sure you do a rent analysis where the rent that you're going to get, not only is it going to cover your current mortgage, but it's going to put $300-400 in your pocket. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but there's no way you're going to contract that'll give you $300 or $400 for free every month. So if you can use the equity in your current home to buy you and upgrade a house and then keep that current house and rent it out, I always say do it, because what's going to happen, and this is something that I've seen happen to people where they bought a home, they sold their home for the sole purpose of purchasing the next home. Now they move to the next home, their husband or wife or whatever lost their job. Now you got to downsize to an apartment, wait for a year or so, and then try to enter the market. You're entering the market, at a very that you're going to pay for it. But if you had kept that home, right, that person continues to pay down your principal. They basically are putting money in your pocket. And most people don't think that they can access the equity in a home without selling it. There's three different ways you can access your equity. You can sell your home, you can do a cash out refinance, or you can do a home equity line of credit. You can
Hey,
cash out refinance, you access your equity, you use it to buy the next, and then you rent the next one,
Okay.
Randy.
right?
For the sake of our guests here, what's the name of the brokerage firm? Have you already mentioned that?
Optimal lendings.
Optimal Lending. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Randy, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you, bro.
All right. Good information. I like it a lot. What I know you talk about the first time home ownership, right? What is it better at a brokerage like yours, or is it better through the lending process? What does the brokerage bring specifically to the first time ownership? Because as you said, immigrant, right, are moving towards the United States daily, yearly, and so forth, right?
Right.
Why would they pick a brokerage compare to anything else? Can you break that down for me, please?
Absolutely. So it basically comes down to availability of products and pricing. So for example, just think about it this way: you're looking for a car insurance. You go,
Randy, can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
Can
Can
you
you
hear
guys
me?
hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I just want you to call your number quickly. Let me just run it across the stream.
Okay, 952 300 0886.
And then if you can also put the name of the firm and Optimal what? Optimal
Optimal
Brokerage or
lending.
Optimal Lending. Okay.
All right, I just put it in the group chat.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So back to your question, bro. So just think about this. You're looking for a car, you're looking for car insurance. You walk into a State Farm agency. that agent is going to quote you what State Farm has, right? Each company has highs and lows. They have their own margins. They're only going to give you quotes that products that they have generated from their underwriting. Okay. If you go to an independent agent, that independent agent has over 20 agency. They're able to take your information, they're able to put it in the system, and from that system comes 20 different options. And from that 20 different options, they're able to select the best one for you based on pricing. And not just based on pricing, from a one-to-one customer interfacing. It's one of the benefit you get with small brokerage. It's very relational. You can go to the big banks. I'm not saying I don't want to stereotype, but big banks are there's a lot of red tape. They have a culture, you got expectations to meet. When you go to the smaller brokerage, there's a lot of personal relationship. They get to know you. We get to have a conversation with you. I get to understand, your financial situation, and forget about me trying to get a commission. I'm able to say, bro, to be honest with you, this is what you got going on. I don't think you should be looking to buy a home right now just based on X, Y, Z. Right?
Okay,
But
so
if you go to a bigger bank, they'll get your information and they'll just send you the denial letter. Hey, we denied you based on credit. That doesn't really tell you anything.
understood. Thank you for that. So basically, just to recap, you as a broker basically educate, then you detake, and you direct. Unlike the big lenders who would just run the numbers, run the numbers. After the numbers come, we clear cuts. So you basically you want growth because by giving good information, you would share the bigger picture. All right, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Patos got questions?
Oh, can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Quickly, Randy, if you could throw
Yeah.
some light on, the income requirement. As you know, for immigrants in this country, it's tough, you know, to get their feet settled. Um, it's jobs to jobs, turnovers to turnovers. So, I mean, how do you advise these people navigate that situation as it relates to that income requirement in obtaining a home?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. I think African diaspora, of all the group of people that comes to the U.S., we're the second highest earner. You have the Asians, and then you have, per capita, we're the second highest. Um, I will respond by saying this, and it might shock you. When you first come to the U.S. And you have the opportunity to, I mean, you're not coming here on visiting visa or anything like that. Your paperwork is good, your status is good, and you start working. That is the first time for you to not I wouldn't say want to look to buy a home, but to start to get educated on buying a home. The reason why I say that is when you first come, say you're here for 6, 8 months, and you have a good understanding on home buying process, the importance of becoming a homeowner. What does that do? That influence your behavior. It influence your spending habits. It raise your awareness about credit, right? But if you're here 6 to 8 months and you have no one's talked to you about home buying, no one's really educated you on credit other than the perception of, oh my man, the people send you credit card, you go spend it. Nobody tells you the importance of paying your bills on time. So you've been here for a year, but what have you done? You've shot your credit, right? You haven't created that baseline within a year or two for you to move to, hey, I need to buy a home, right? So although you might think you're just coming, but guess what? Most of us that just come to this country, we ain't going back anytime soon. It's not like you're coming here for 2, 3 years. You're like, oh, man, let me go back to Liberia. You here, you're settling for at least 5, 6 years, and then when you come with a family, it is even much more important for you to move into getting a home right away because now you have kids. They need that stability. They can't be moving to apartment from apartment to apartment.
So so I know we have like 3 minutes here. I mean our host will probably reference that, but quick questions too, like to Tata's question, right? Like the specific income. You started me like someone who just coming here. He's saying like if I just come here, right, like making like $50,000, I should be looking at, you know, purchasing a home. I mean, looking at the home buying process right away. I mean, trying to get educated towards that. I'm just making $50,000. And my second question for you is that, you know, is that we have as the host mentioned earlier, a lot of Liberians here is like, okay, like building homes back, building properties back home. Which way do you recommend in terms of the financial benefit? Build a home back home or here, or buy a home here?
So I go to your first question. I'll go back to your first
Randy,
question.
when you answer those questions, let's just move on. Let's just add another 5 minutes because we're kind of late, So let's
Okay,
just do another extra 5 minutes here. So as you answer those questions, and then you can just if anybody else have a question, you can ask him too after he answer those questions, and then you can just do your closing after that, and
sure,
let us know how people can contact you and yada yada yada. We'll go from
sure.
there.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you. I'll go back to your first question. When you first come, like I said, even if you're making $50,000, my recommendation is not you come and you look to buy a home right away, but you at least start to get exposure to the process, right, and the understanding. There are different properties, right? There are condos, there are duplexes, there are townhouses. You'd be surprised making $50,000 can get you a two-bedroom, two-bathroom condo, two-bedroom, two-bathroom townhome, right? That's better than renting. But it all starts with you having access to the information. And people make different decisions about being here and building home in Liberia. I there are things I'm doing in Liberia, but I'm not building a house, right? Because I have a wife, I have two young girls. I'm not looking at going to Liberia anytime soon. But everything that I do in Liberia is business, right? So I'm building, I'm building a warehouse. Very soon, I'm going to be building a factory. I'm not doing anything in Liberia about a house because what I see happens a lot of times is you build that house, you put family member inside to live there while you're over here. And while you're over here, people are living there. You go back home, you can't even have room in your own house. So I've seen it happen many times, right? I do want to transition to Liberia, but first thing I want to do is I want to have an enterprise setup that can accommodate me transitioning to Liberia. I don't just want to just build a house just for the sake of it being there. If that may answer your question.
Okay, as a follow-up question to that though, as a real estate investor here in the United States, will you do similar investment like in terms of real estate? I mean, to your point, you have businesses in Liberia. We do a real estate investment in Liberia.
Yes, there are multiple process projects that I have going on in Liberia. All commercial real estate. So apartment buildings, event halls. Like I said, I'm building a warehouse and things like that. All of my projects are in the commercial space in Liberia because I feel like those are the areas that you have a lot of returns. Single family home. If you build it again, you have to put people inside. Those people 9 times out of 10 got family members. Then at the end of the day, you gotta send them full money.
Right.
And
Calling
not,
you when
not
the
to really
Zing League,
step down,
the Zing Star League, and calling you.
All
not
right.
to
Well, I
step,
got a
not to step
question.
on
Just to
anybody
bring up.
who's doing that, but I mean, because family dynamics, can be different too, and depending on what kind of family you come from. So for
Right,
people who are doing that, if it's working for you, I mean,
right,
kudos to you. But
right.
investment wise, it's usually not the best way to go. Uh, uh, you had a question?
I do have a question,
Go ahead.
Rennie.
Yeah.
Uh, Based on the interest rate right now, what would you recommend for a first time, regardless of being first time home buyer, right? Would you recommend a commercial loan or a single family home loan? If you were to go into what's the best loan right now out there?
Well, if you're a first time home buyer, you shouldn't be touching commercial. That's my first thing. Commercial is a different
Why?
beast. It is least there's less regulation on commercial. There's a lot more risk. So if you're a first time home buyer, I feel like you're just getting involved in ownership of real estate. you want to save that for later. At least you want to be a homeowner, understand how to manage home, the different dynamics about home value and all of that stuff. But what I will say though is, if you're a first time home buyer, you should not look to purchase a single family home. I've had many conversations about people. Single family home is a liability. If you're a first time home buyer and you have good income, good credit score, right? Purchase multifamily. Purchase yourself a duplex, a triplex, or quadplex. The same amount of money to some degree that you put into a single family home, if you can find you a side by side unit where you live on one side, you have somebody renting out the other side, or you get a triplex where there's a side by side, you live on one side, you rent out the other two. That's the way to go. That's the quickest way to generating wealth in the U.S. Single family home is great. It's going to give you the baseline, but what your return is going to be significantly slower than if you went the multifamily route. But again,
Okay.
that's something for entirely for of another
Yeah, that's
section.
that's a big one right there.
That's good.
So,
Okay.
Randy,
Thank you.
can we get one question from? I mean, let's get some more questions here if we have. We got about a minute here.
I got a
Patrick, you got any
question.
questions?
Hey, Randy.
Yeah, what's up, bro?
So with the years of experience, right? What would you tell a younger version of you, like a young man of you, to handle this home buying process? Because most of the time the young guys we make a lot, they make a lot of money, right?
Right,
But now getting a home is a whole different scenario. That means you got a house by yourself,
right.
rooms, right? You're gonna invite friends, right? How can you gauge them and tell them, say, hey, you should invest in a home? How do you pull them? Young men and young women with the early
Sure.
stage of working or early stage of working and developing. Can you give more information on that?
Sure. And the first thing you said is, what would I tell a young lady? I would tell a young lady, hey, invest in real estate right out of college. If I had done that, I probably would have quit my job 10 years earlier, to be honest with you. I will also tell a young lady, don't buy a single family home, right? When I bought my first property, where I'm at now, is a single family home after my wife and I got married. I didn't have the knowledge, the understanding to go the multifamily route. So I started with a single family home, but this gave me the foundation for me to become a real estate investor. What I will tell young folks out there is, there are always benefits of buying home. Right? Just think about it. Even if you're a bachelor, you buy a 5 bedroom home, you live in one room. If you don't really care, if you're not thinking about a girlfriend or anything like that, you live in one room, you rent out the other four. Even you say you get your boyfriend, girlfriend, right? You have good income. Again, if you buy a duplex, I've coached people many times in the process. I have a protege. I coached him fresh out of college, was thinking about buying, a $500,000 home in Minnetonka. I sat him down. I was like, I don't think that's the route to go. He purchased a triplex, right? The mortgage on his triplex was $2,100. He lived in one unit. He rent out the other unit for 1,008. He rented out the other unit for 1,005. Right. So just think about it. The rental income from both of the units were enough to pay his rent. He lived there for 1 year, refinanced, and he bought a duplex. So this guy is like 25 years old. He owned a triplex and a duplex, and he's cash flowing about $2,800 a month. So they're paying his mortgage and they're giving him $2,800 a month, pure cash.
Right. Well,
You know,
Randy, we want to say thank you. And just for the next 30 seconds, if you could just go ahead and give us your parting statement and tell somebody who's watching how they can be able to get in contact.
sure. My name is Randy White again. I'm a loan originator, part owner of Optima Lending. We're here in the Twin Cities. We service both residential and commercial purchases. In addition to that, I am a real estate consultant. I provide free consultancy on home buying and also becoming a real estate investor. If you're just looking for a way to get information, to get knowledgeable, reach out to me. My number is 952 300 0886. My approach is very personal. I reach out to people, I understand your financial situation, your investment desires, and I'm able to guide you down the right path. Home buying is comes with a lot, but the better you're informed, the easier it gets, and it's a great way to start to build wealth in the U.S.
Thank you, Randy. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Well,
Thank
Randy,
you.
this is Inner Circle, and this is our podcast. We are an organization, but we're trying to do something different within our community. We want to be bringing people like you on to talk something that is not, on other platforms. You know,
Sure.
uh, like the information you shared tonight, frankly, very, 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 very important information. I've learned from it, and I'm sure somebody out there have learned from it too. I must say, it was a good time having you, and
Thank you.
we will definitely get in touch with you. Call you back here sometime when we get much bigger as well. Um, don't let the
Absolutely.
numbers fool you. I know we've been steady at one, two, but we'll grow. And and
Absolutely.
and the video will be here. It will be on YouTube too. Somebody will run into it. We will also share your number and your information on our page so that somebody who is actually looking for a person like you will get in contact with you. So if you
Yeah.
could just send a little snippet of you and what you do to Tatas, and we'll post it on our platform so that
Okay,
somebody
yeah.
can touch
And I
you.
would just like to buttress the host point. That's what I like to do, right? As a young Liberian, what you're doing to me is very important in the community. And hey, the whole educational piece, because I personally, feels like a lot of Liberians sometimes the focus is normally back home and not here. So I think that doing those investment here, whether it's real estate, whatever investment that you want to do here, I think that and the information you just provided is great. Folks will watch it. And let's keep doing that. Let's keep building one another. Let's keep building each other up. Keep doing what you're doing. We encourage you to do that. And so we thank you for taking up your busy schedule to join us today. Let's just keep it up.
Thank you. Well, my man, I need that. My man, I need that song for the begin from the beginning.
What I want? I'll send it to you. Tato will send it to you. Tato, send
Yeah.
it, send it, send it to the man.
I'll send you. Yeah, I'll send
Folks,
you the
Sound like a
link.
Boston song, man.
Nice having you, Randy.
All right,
folks will say
gentlemen.
thank
Thank you.
you. You guys have a good night.
Thank you.
I got money for my pocket, balance it. I go just dey do any old way, balance it. I got money for my pocket, balance it. My girls like to find.
All right, gentlemen. It was good having Randy. The information was great. We're way over time, man. Way over time. Folks, if you're watching us, we want to say thank you for being here. Thank you to Tatos. Thank you to President AB. Thank you to VP Joey Bunyan. It was a great show.
Chase, thank you,
I,
Chase. That's
Hey,
what
I,
James,
I would
disappear
like
real
to,
quick.
just Abe Kamara or your co-host, the whole presidential thing. We can leave it here. The podcast here. The podcast. We are trying to provide education here. Don't go into
Right,
all
President,
those
President will be
side. I don't think
president.
that is
President
necessary.
will be president.
I'm either Abe Kamara or your co-host.
Let's
So
start calling me chairman. Let's start calling me
I'll,
chairman.
call me Mr. Bunyan.
I'll call you
Gentlemen,
co-host. I'll call you co-host.
gentlemen, y'all,
Those
y'all,
got
y'all have a
issues.
good night, man. We,
But
we,
here's
we
the
are
thing,
out
no,
of
no.
time.
I know we are over time. I know we are over time, but I think after the show, right? Let's take a 2 minutes, right? Just to kind of,
We lost track of time, honestly.
yeah. So
We lost track.
let's take 2 minutes. I encourage you.
Let's
Take
recap. Let's recap.
Yeah, a
Might,
little
yeah,
bit.
we might
Yeah,
need
a
to
little
kind
bit.
of
Let's do
do a
that.
little
Y'all, y'all,
commentary.
no, y'all keep doing that. I'll be around. I will maintain the platform.
But
Yeah.
but Chairman, before you go,
I'm not going.
we might
I'll be
eventually
there.
have to extend the time for the podcast. The 1 hour is starting to look short for us, man.
No, I
At
don't
least
think
one.
I don't think I don't think 1 hour is short though. The thing about it, right? It's a lot of information. I think
Yeah.
we have started here. We're trying to build audience. We're trying to build, this platform. It's an educational platform. It's where to build each other up, to build our community up, to provide. I mean, the information Randy provided today, it's a load of information. Real estate,
Priceless
yeah. I mean,
information.
real estate is a loaded. stuff, man. You know what I mean? And he's on the side of, I mean, he was trying to go at multiple issues at the same time. He's a real estate investor. At the same time, he's doing his brokerage thing. So, like he was trying to go like multiple dimensions. So, but it was a lot of information. So I think the 1 hour that we have right now, I think it is good for now until we can try to build this and see where we are.
Yeah, add a couple of minutes to it. Add a couple of minutes. I think we
No, we
have
can
a
always
lot of
go. I mean, we can always go over
we got a
time.
lot of information.
Like we did Randy today, right? We can always go over time
Coming
a
on
little
this
bit.
platform, 1 hour 30 minutes. That's not bad for
Let's
the
stick to the one.
guests.
Let's stick to the 1 hour.
For
Uh,
the guests.
Let me see. Let me
Do
say something.
a little commentary after that. But yeah, man, it's a great show. Great emerging platform too.
I mean, I agree, but 1 hour is long enough because, as he said, he got his number out there. He's
Yeah,
providing information. 45 minutes for a guest, 15 minutes for the panel to discuss and stuff. We got time is very important. So if you're giving somebody 1 hour, give them guaranteed 1 hour. Something good. You don't want to bore the people.
yeah.
You always gotta remember that. You don't
absolutely.
want to bore nobody. You want people to be engaged. You
Man,
want
with the
grab
people
and
on the
go.
platform,
You know what I'm
nobody's
saying?
gonna get bored. Trust me.
You know what I'm saying? Grab and go because we live in the economy. I mean, some things we discussed today, you just gotta sit back and think about it. Young
Facts.
immigrants coming from a new place, dude. Even though we've been here long, it's a whole different world. We're coming from a different world into a new world with new experiences. Even Inner Circle doing this right now. We bringing information to the people. Just remember, years ago, this wasn't even available. If
Right.
like Randy said, if you didn't get the classes or your parents didn't teach you about it, you didn't have no relative. What people do with the first thing they come in America? They're giving them free money, credit cards, boom, you spend 1 year for 10 years of working. You mess up your credit. 1 year. You know what I mean? Or you even get
No financial education, no
no
financial literacy.
financial education. You get stuck in the system. You stuck in the rut. You didn't get an education in school. They're not teaching this in school. It's not in high school
They're not
class.
gonna give it to you, no.
They're teaching carpentry. You know what I'm saying? Teaching you how to build a house. They ain't teaching you if you didn't take economics, you're not gonna understand how, especially in the United States. It's a fast-paced, moving economy. So we're bringing things live from every dimension, and we need to have time to discuss. 45 minutes is a good time. 15 minutes to engage the people. Why they should even go after anybody we bring on this show. So that's why I look at it.
Okay.
I like the input. I
Yeah.
think we'll keep working on it. We'll keep extending as we go on.
Yeah.
And at times naturally the time will just be extended, but yeah, great
We hear,
input there.
we hear you. We hear you. We hear you, Tatus. I know you're so much concerned about time, but hey, gentlemen,
We'll get there. We'll get there, guys.
yeah. This was great. I mean, let's keep it up. The panelists, the host, our guest was great today. I mean, let's keep it up. I mean, to everyone listening today, there's more to come on this. More to come on this platform. We have a great guest next week and the week after that, and so keep tuning in. It's every Wednesday. As we grow, it's going to be hopefully every day. But thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a good
Sounds
night.
good, gentlemen. Yeah, y'all have a good night, man.
You too.
Same to
Bye.
you. Take care.
Bye.